affects all your senses, and while it happens, it means you're sensing danger or some harm coming your way. I would say basically that is what fear is.
Thank you so much, Victoria. And for Josephine, in the same way, how would you describe fear in how you've experienced it?
For me, it's the voice that makes me second guess myself, or the voice that cautions me not to do something. So it can either be I'm trying to either go somewhere or do something, and I sit there and I start asking myself questions whether that's the right thing to do, whether that's the right step to go, or is this even, should I say, good enough to be done? Should I even start thinking that way? So it's that voice that makes me question, that makes me ask, that makes me second guess, that makes me pause and dig deeper into what I want to do or where I want to go.
Thank you so much, Josephine. We all have seen that fear can either be second guessing ourselves or thinking we are not enough or thinking we cannot do this. But each and every one of us has experienced fear one way or the other. So oftentimes we only describe fear as a negative emotion or negative entity. But you, as Victoria and Josephine, do you think fear can be useful or is it always harmful? Have you ever used fear in a positive manner?
Yes, fear is actually very useful. Once you, should I say, realize that when you're doing something you're not used to doing, there will always be fear. So you actually embrace it and then you go ahead and do that thing. So I think for purposes of this discussion, let me use examples from my chapter. For example, let me see what example to use. Like, as I was traveling with my kids and we were using the road, we had left Kenya, gotten into Tanzania, and now we are exiting Tanzania into Zambia. And because our means of transport broke down, we were a day late. We had overstayed with a day. So the immigration officer was so mad that I did not get there and declare I have an overstay. I honestly didn't know the procedure, but he was so mad that he told me, I'm going to throw you in the cells. So of course, when I heard that, I felt a lot of fear. And then he went ahead to tell me that the penalty is $600 per passport. So it was me and my 5 kids. So imagine that figure first. I was like, I don't have a kind of money. And then there was a lot of back and forth, but that's one of the moments I remember me feeling fear, like, so now what, you know? But I knew because he was saying the alternative is go back. The Tunduma border, the Zambia-Tanzania border to Namanga is like 1,500 kilometers. So he was like, you need to go back to Namanga and go back to your country. And I was like, no, I have planned my travel. I am going. And honestly speaking, going back to Kenya was not an option at the time. So somehow between the back and forth, 4 hours later, they understood my case and they let us exit and enter Zambia.
Thank you so much, Victoria. The same question goes for Josephine. Like she said, Victoria has stated that fear is actually a powerful stimulator in the positive direction. Uh, I hope to believe that that is the same case for you. But if you have any experience that fear is used negatively, could you please tell us or if you have an experience that fear fueled you in the positive way and it was useful, could you please take us through that?
I'm going to agree with Victoria. Fear can both be negative and it can be positive, in the sense that it can also alert you to danger. It can also push us to prepare better for things that are happening. But then again, if you do not check it, then it becomes harmful, because it means that it stops being sort of like a guardrail and it becomes a cage. So we stick right there. And in my experience, it has been a cage. And it took me quite some time before I discovered that this fear that what I'm doing is not helping my cause, was when I'd been called to speak for many years. I used to do a lot of small meetings in church. I used to lead Bible study. But anytime I was called to either train people or something, I had an excuse. I didn't know. I did not know much. And it took one of my mentors actually pushing me for me to realize that keeping quiet and not sharing my knowledge is actually caging myself. So in that instance, fear became harmful because it meant that I was not living up to my true potential. So when you know how far you can go, or at what point the fear has stopped being useful to you, then it's a good thing. And another example would be, and this is something we should all see as Kenyans, when you're walking at night and you feel that the direction you're going is not right for you, and that gut feeling comes up, if you don't change the direction quickly, you might just go and meet our brothers from somewhere else who do not have good things for you. So at that point, that fear that you felt was very useful, because it showed you that you're walking into danger. You better course correct. And so it works both ways, but you have to know which is which. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Josephine and Victoria, for sharing those insights. I think it is so fascinating how fear can look different for each of us. I believe that all of us here have not experienced fear the way Josephine has experienced fear, or rather the way Victoria has experienced fear. But with that, we should be able to realize if we can use this fear to fuel us into the positive way, or let it cage us. Like Josephine said, it had caged her for a few occasions, but you should not let fear cage you. And I would like to recognize one of our co-authors, our collaborating authors in the book, Agnes. Agnes is here with us. Agnes, thank you so much for coming to support us in our first webinar. If you'd like to share some insights throughout the session, kindly just raise your hand or text in the chat box, and I'll give you the time to do that. Thank you. We are so happy you're here with us. And with that, I'd like us to discuss what it is actually like to experience fear. We have heard from Josephine and Victoria of the moments they have experienced fear. So I would like to ask, this goes to Josephine. How does fear tend to show up in your life? Sometimes does it come quietly, creeping up your neck, or does it knock loudly on the door saying, I am here, I am here? So how do you know that fear is creeping up or is showing up in your life, in instances in your life? Please.
It has never come loudly. It has never come loudly. It always comes very quietly. And that's the thing. It might sound like the voice of reason in your head. And one of the things I remember, and I think I've written this in my chapter, one of my coaches used to tell me, Josephine, you're the best kept secret in the world. And that is not a compliment. So she'd keep on saying that. And that is not a compliment, because you have so much knowledge, but nobody knows you because you are quiet. You're not doing what you need to do. The reason is the fear in me was not shouting. you need to work on this program and you need to perfect the program. So every time I'd work on a program I need to release, the date for release comes and I go back and I'm thinking, no, there's just something here. I need to perfect it. And that is not something that shouts. It is very sort of insidious, very silent. So it shows up for me sometimes as perfection. It shows up as asking myself, who am I to be in those rooms that I am being called to? And it is not going to come and ask you, kwani unafikiria we ni nani? No, it's not going to ask you like that. It will ask you, who do you think you are? Very gently, you think at it, oh, this is a voice that really and truly cares for me. And then you discover it's not a voice that cares for you, it's a voice that is holding you up. So it comes slowly. And when you ignored it, that is when now it raises its voice. And you ignore it, it raises its voice. So when you ignore it completely, it shuts up and you know, okay, that was just fear. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Josephine. I think most times fear does show up quietly. Even the fears that I've experienced throughout life have always been creeping behind me at the back of my head saying, no, you're not doing this, you can't do this right here. Like you said, perfection. Perfection is one way to mask fear. And so for Victoria, I believe your story speaks so much to a lot of women, and you call yourself the woman who breaks taboos. So how did fear show up in your life? I want to know that.
Okay, first let me recognize my community, my GC people. Thank you for showing up for this webinar. I wanted to say the opposite of Josephine. I think I have had loud fear. For example, when my mother passed away, because I was there, it's paralyzing fear. And then it's because she died, she was taken away. Then I asked to see her. So she was brought on I don't know whether to call it a table because it's not a bed. So she was still warm and looking as if she's just gone to sleep. So I cried and shouted, and I was wondering now, how will life be? So I had all these emotions, and fear was number one on the list. So for me, that was loud fear. What have you asked me again, Celine? You
I
asked
was just, I asked how
how
did
fear
the fear
has
show
showed
up?
up. Okay,
Yes.
how fear has showed up. Gosh, I feel like fear shows up every day in every way. Every big decision I've made has been lined up with fear. Even the decision to leave Kenya with my kids without a destination in mind, oh my goodness. I had so much fear, but I knew that was the right thing to do. And there is a conviction it came with, because it's not something like I sat down and planned. It's a conviction that came in a moment. And we are told in times of crisis, I think your best weapon is decisiveness, and it's got to be, make a decision, stand with it, do it. So in the way it came, and then I left, I cannot say I was okay. I had so much fear. And at the time, I didn't even want to talk about it. I think I talked about it probably, it took me time. It took me time to talk about it. So it was me, my thoughts of fear and feeling afraid and doing this thing that I can't even describe. In fact, later when now I could speak about it, there are people I told, actually even now there are people who tell me, you're crazy. How did you even do that? Yeah, so I feel fear comes, it's like an everyday thing, but you cannot say that your life will not go on just because you're afraid. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, Victoria. I believe that is an experience where it was very critical for you to avoid the fear and make that bold step, which I really applaud from you. And this same question goes to Josephine. Share with us an experience where fear gripped you at a very critical moment, like this decision or this, what I do next will change a trajectory in my life, making it hard for you to move forward. You had to second guess yourself. Please share with us an experience.
Wow. I don't know if it was second guessing myself, but I remember I was approached some years back when I was still doing media and asked to go and train the radio team in Sudan, South Sudan. But the journey was going to be by road. It wasn't going to be by flight. And that was just 2 years in from the signing of the agreement. So this was those days. I'm trying to remember the year. I think it was 2006, 2007, that far. So Sudan was still just coming out of that first war. And I was selected and told, okay, Josephine, you and your team are going to go and train, and you're going to go by road, and you need to do that journey in 2 days. Now go look at the map first and see where you are in Nairobi, and you have to go all the way into Nandapal border, cross into Sudan, and go all the way into Juba. What they did not tell us is that once you cross over onto the other side, there's no communication because there are no lines, there's nothing. And I remember the thing that stopped me was when we crossed over. And 2 hours in, we've lost all connection. There are no telecommunications. The only telecommunication you'll get when you reach Juba. And somebody tells us, from here, keep onto this road. If you see sticks up and sticks on this other side, that's the path you're supposed to follow, because out of that, you have mines. And I am sitting there and looking at the person who's leading this mission, because I wasn't leading it. I was going to, but I wasn't the one leading. And I'm looking at this person leading this mission, and I'm asking him, are you really sure we should do this? And he's like, yes. And I tell him, give me 2 days. We are already in Sudan, by the way, but give me 2 days to just think through this before we proceed. And at that point, he says, you have 2 days, but within those 2 days, you have to make a decision whether we are going forward or we are going backwards. But when I woke up the next morning, I just thought, that is such a waste of time. I am sitting in this place that nobody knows is in the middle of where no one can tell that, okay, just when you've reached this place, now you can move forward. Or I can tell my people back home I've reached. And I thought, this is such a waste of time. We've come this far. Let us just move on. And that, for me, was a place where I could have really and truly have let fear control the outcome. But what I learned from that, moving forward, I am not good in places where my life is going to be at risk. I am not. I have the ability to sit still and do nothing. And I learned to now make decisions, not based on feelings, but based on facts. And sometimes my feelings might lie, but the fact won't. And the fact at that particular time was that people go through that road every time, regardless of the mines on either side. But following the demined areas, they make it. So it's, for me, the action. So it's the action that gets fear out, not the standing still. Yeah. And having learned that, it keeps me going. It keeps me always saying yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Josephine. That was so awesome. Hearing you know that you learned that facts never lie. Feelings can lie because those are intrusive thoughts, but facts do not lie. So hearing these experiences from you really shows us that we are not alone in feeling fear, But fear does not stay in our minds. It doesn't have to stay there. It can shape our choices that we make. And these choices sometimes end up changing the trajectory of our entire lives. It will offset a whole set of decisions that will either lead you right or left. So let us not let fear stay in our minds and decide what we can do. Like Justin said, facts over feelings. If you have things to prove that this decision should go this way, use it. Do not use your intrusive thoughts. Do not let the fear eat out of you to let you not do something or decide on something. And with that, I would like us to go on ahead and see how fear affects our life, our career, our decisions, our social networks, our experiences and interactions with people. I'll just go right ahead with you, Josephine. Um, how does fear affect our general quality of life as an individual or even as a society? Seeing that we interact with the people, how does it affect our general quality of life?
Wow. Victoria, may I use your story?
Yes.
And I'm just thinking because I've read your story and I've heard you speak. And one of the things to answer you, Celine, is this. If you do not do what you know you need to do because you are afraid of the outcome, then will you be in a worse place than you were, or will you be in a better place because you have stopped? And the reason I'm saying, let me use Victoria's story so that everyone here can go and read Victoria's story and just see. Had she not made the decisions she made, crossing several borders with 5 children, not knowing where she was going, you are an Abraham of some sort. You just decided, let me go, regardless. You're going, regardless of the fear that you're feeling. And that's the thing. Regardless of the fear that we feel, we have to move. Because if we do not, the place where we are is burning. You'd rather jump in the water and figure out a way across than stay where it's burning. Because if you stay there, you're going to be burnt alive. So that is the thing. Our quality of life should not be made worse because of the things that we fear. Rather, we should use the fear that we are feeling to launch ourselves into better places. We should use that fear to just move forward and not stick where we are. An example is right now, I think I've mentioned it in the book, I'm in a different place than I was when I started. And it's simply because come January 20th, 2025, Trump was sworn in as president. January 21st, 2025, we had a stop work order. We were told, stop work. That meant you cannot tell your partners you're not doing, you cannot send the report that you're meant to send, nothing. And we were told, we will be told further ahead what is going to happen. Well, we were told, we were sent home, we had no work. And at that time, I had to sit down and think, food does not know you don't have money. Rent does not know you do not have a job. Your children do not know that you are thinking, what are you thinking about? The next meal needs to be eaten, the next rent needs to be paid, the next thing needs to be done. And I quickly pivoted into a place where I never in my wildest dreams thought would make sense for me. And I remember calling up this lady. Backstory, in 2023, I was grossly overweight. End of 2022, 2023, my doctor called me clinically obese. If you saw my pictures, you wouldn't even know that I was obese, but that's what they said. And I remember going on safari with my family and coming back, but I could not finish. So we were doing a hike. I couldn't go up that hike. And I stopped. I came back. I sat in the car. When we came back to Kenya, I called a lady I know is a wellness coach, and I told her, I need to shed off some weight. And through that journey, I learned a lot about nutrition. So when the stop work order came, I called her again and I just told her, you know what, this thing you told me about, there's a business in it. And she says, yes. And that is how I started. I just jumped in 2 feet, and it has been paying my bills and doing things for me since I started in February. Now, had I stopped to rethink and start and wonder, maybe Trump might change his mind. Where will my children be? Where will I be getting food from? So we need to figure out, if you stay where you are because of fear, is the place where you are safer than the place you're thinking is worse? Wouldn't it be better for you to go and discover that actually this place is bad, but you have learned along that way, and the experiences that you have learned are going to teach you, than staying there and thinking that, well, somebody's coming to save you? My friend, nobody's coming to save you. You are your own person. Other than Jesus Christ, no one is going to come and get you out of the hole you are in. You have to show that you can get yourself out of that hole. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Josephine. And I like what you have said, the statement, nobody is coming to save you unless it's Jesus when he's coming back. So you're your own savior, you're your own. If you dig yourself a hole, you'll be the only person to remove yourself out of that hole or that situation. I'd like to recognize Naomi Nyambura Kimani, one of our co-authors. She's also in the audience with us. Thank you, Naomi, for being here with us today. We are very happy that you're here. And for everyone else that is in the session, please, if you have any lessons or any notes that you've picked up from what we have discussed so far, you can share it in the chat box so that we know we are having an interactive session with you all and you're picking up something from us. Thank you. And with that, I'll go straight to Victoria. Before you made that straight jump to cross the border with your 4 children of under 7, have you ever looked back before that specific decision and realized that fear made you choose safe instead of right for you and your family?
Well, yes, actually, I have. I have chosen safety over. We say safety over?
Safe instead of right.
Yes, safe instead of right, yes. So, and it's in all areas of life. Like, I once worked for, let me not mention the name, but it was a very high stressful environment. I was in corporate. And every morning I woke up, I used to ask myself, do I really want this? Then I'm like, the money. And then I go back to, but let me stay up to now as I search for another job. There is that I struggled with myself so much. And something, actually, the reason I stopped working, something happened to my son. I had one kid then. Something happened to him at home with the house girl, and I was like, there is no job and no money that I'm making that is equivalent to the safety of my child. I didn't give notice. I stopped and I stopped. Like, I was writing my resignation when, as in, I'd already stopped going to work. So yes, there's jobs that I have stayed longer than I should have. I stayed in a relationship longer than I should have. By the time a woman leaves, let me talk for women because I'm a woman. By the time a woman leaves a relationship, you knew even 3 years ago or 5 years ago that this thing is not working, but you keep flogging the horse and there's nothing there. It died, ilikufa kitambo, but you're still there, There is relationships in terms of friendships. I think I used to be this person who used to value, oh, but I've known this person for 10 years, or we went to uni together. You put longevity as part of, it's an achievement in a friendship because you've known someone for 15, 20 years, or you were born in the same village, And yet, this person is very toxic. I say, as much as we say relationships are toxic, like marriage or boyfriend, girlfriend, those relationships, friendships can also be very toxic. And yeah, I have had to learn that I have to go off of some of my friendships. I have chosen, like Josephine. There's a time I was grossly overweight. I think I was just in like a comfort zone or I will handle it someday. I will handle it someday. Then there are things like, I think the thing I used to struggle the most was if I decide I'm actually just taking a walk and my heart would pump, you know? You see a nice outfit, you can't wear it. And let's be real, we are women, vanity, you want to look good. So you're like, hey, this weight, it's not doing me good. I want to look good. So yeah, I have chosen safe over. Yeah, there are many more examples, but those are that's what is in my head right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Victoria. I also have a short story to break the ice on one of my friends. We were very young at the time. We were in primary class 8. We used to graduate before we got to high school. And so I had two friends. One was the school head girl, and the other one was student proficient in English. She would speak well. So she would often do the public speaking, do the vote of thanks in school. So on this day graduation, we had a guest of honors, our parents, our friends and family who came to celebrate with us before we sat for our KCPE. Our principal went right ahead and wrote a whole speech that the head girl, my friend, would say. So, but she had jitters, she was anxious. She ended up saying she had a bad cough and could not speak. And then this other friend who used to do the vote of thanks, the public speaking, said, I'll do it for you. She went ahead, apologized, and said the head girl is currently not feeling well. She cannot speak, so I'll do the speech on her behalf. And she did the speech very well. Everyone was very astonished. Like they liked the speech, even the guest speakers. You know how when we were in events, people give you money, people give you flowers, they'll give you things here and there. So she got a lot of money from the guest speakers, a lot of recognition. It was so nice. Then when she came to sit down, our our head girl said, "Oh, I wish I would have gone and spoken because the speech was already written down. You just had to read it with confidence and articulate your words very carefully." So this was one of the many experiences I passively experienced on how to not let fear tell you what you can or what you cannot do and choose the safe option instead of the right, because she was the one who was chosen to do the speech, do the vote of thanks, but she said no, let me be safe so that I do not embarrass myself instead of doing the right thing. So yeah, so I believe all of us have had similar experiences from when we were young to our workplace and the life experiences. So let us not decide to choose the safe instead of right. Do the right thing. Even with the fear, take that bold step. Now that we have seen and had the impact fear can have in our lives, our societies, family, and friends, I hope that we will take action. And with that, how do we move forward and do it afraid? Because we are all doing it afraid. So I would like to ask Josephine, how do we keep fear from controlling your decision? Yes, you have taken that first step into the unknown with the fear still with you. How do you fear? How do you keep fear from controlling any of your decisions when you're doing what you have stepped into? Please.
Wow. Before I answer you, let me first give a shout out to my colleagues, former colleagues. I can see them here. Thank you so much for joining. And also my Toastmasters community. I can see quite a number of them in the room. Thank you so much for honoring the invite and coming. How do we keep fear from controlling our decisions? One, take action and take action quickly. I'm Christian, so one of the things I do is I pray a lot. And sometimes when I hear from God, because I know for a fact I hear from God, you had asked what is the unique thing about me. The unique thing about me is that I am God's favorite child. I am God's favorite. The rest is me. I am God's favorite. So being God's favorite, I have to hear him speak. And there's a difference between hearing God speak and hearing your thoughts in your head. You have to know which one is your voice and which one is God's voice. But by and large, how do we keep fear from controlling us? Take action quickly. Success loves speed. So if you're seated there and you have a program you know you're supposed to launch, and you know in your heart you're supposed to do it, yet you're dilly-dallying and thinking that I have to have all my ducks in a row. First and foremost, just to go and look at those ducks the way they walk. They're never in a row. So how do you want them to be in a row for you? Ducks are never in a row first. So take action and take action quickly. You will prove your point as you go along. If it's a program you're launching, start it off and course correct as you go. Do not take time. Do not overthink, because clarity does not come from overthinking. Clarity comes from movement. So move. As you move, you will become clear. The way will become clear. You will be able to see, this is what I need to do. So that is the first and only thing. Take action, move, and you'll become clear as you go along.
Thank you so much, Josephine. I would kindly like to read out any lessons that our audience has learned from us. Just give me a minute. Yes, we have Rispa saying, no going back to my plans because of fear. Yes, that is also good. If you have plans set up, follow up to the plan. Unless something that is beyond your control, that should deter your plans. But if it is something under your control, you should not go back on your plans because of fear. Success loves speed. True. You can't dilly-dally with success. If something is meant for you and you dilly-dally, it goes away. It will be taken out of you because you're taking too much time to grasp it and hold on to it. Polly says, my take home is to dare to. Yes, dare to do it afraid. Dare to wake up early and say, today I am doing this and this. Dare to start up that business you're doing. Dare to write a book. Dare to say yes to any opportunity that comes your way. Gatwiri Damari says, my take home is take action quickly, and that is how you face fear. This goes in line with success loves speed. Do not take time to think so much or dilly-dally. Okay, and Damaris still says clarity comes with movement. True. Clarity comes with movement. If you're mobile, I think you'll get engaged, and probably someone somewhere will jog your mind, and you'll get to hear interesting points here and there, and that will challenge you to do something differently or do what you want to do. Exactly. So my question goes to Victoria. Does having someone or something to keep you accountable, like an accountability partner or accountability tracker, when you're doing something outside of your comfort zone, does it help navigate the fear and eventually conquer it or go past it? Please, can you tell us if you have an accountability partner or something that keeps you accountable through the fear?
There is no life without accountability. None. For life to be in harmony, you need accountability. So for me, it goes many ways, but my primary one for me is I have a very supportive partner, and I see he's here. Thanks for showing up. He's traveling. I have my life coach who is also here. Hi, Chelsea. I have my women. All the ones I was mentioning in the beginning, they're all my women. I know they support me. I know they are there when things are going well, and they hold space for me when things are down. Those are mine. Then we can go into career and get into the details of, for example, I see my publisher is here. If I have anything I would love to ask about writing, I know I can reach out because she's a wealth of knowledge, and that is the writing part. I have interests in nutrition. I have interests in fitness. I know the people who are full of that knowledge that I can reach out to. and who can help me. So yes, there is no life without accountability. So accountability equals your support system equals your best life. So choose right. Who is your support system?
Thank you so much, Victoria. And for Josephine, in the career world, do you, still the same question as Victoria, do you have someone to keep you accountable for the goals you've set, for the decisions you're going to make, and any decision that you're doing it afraid, and he or she will help push you so that you cannot back out of it?
Yeah, you have to have somebody. And just what Victoria said, that sentence she started with, there's no life without accountability. That is really true. And it is in all spheres of life, and especially career. You will have to get somebody who can tell you when you need to jump and do something that you wouldn't have thought of doing because you think you are not capable. You have that voice that is telling you you're not worthy behind you. So you need somebody like that. You need somebody keeping you accountable in the goals that you have set for yourself, in the things that you want to reach. So in every sphere of life, and career being the biggest, because we spend 3/4 of our lives, that's a long time, but we spend like a third of each day in the spaces that we are earning money from. So that is our career. And whether it's your business is your career. Whether it is it's employment, that is your career. We spend a third of our day right there. So you need to have somebody who's going to show you, by the way, you had said that in your business this year, you're going to hit these goals. How are you doing with it? Or somebody's going to ask you, you had said that in your workplace this year, you're going to speak up and do this project. How are you doing with it? And if you do not have people like those, then you are going to sit down one day at a riverbank somewhere and just watch the water flow and wonder what has happened to my life, because there was nobody to show you. You did not allow somebody to show you. So find a space, find people who can be that for you.
Thank you so much, Josephine. Rispa in the chat box says there is no life without accountability, reiterating what Victoria said when she started, which is true. But I believe people tend to learn about accountability too late, or too late in life, because you just go through life like me naenda na flow. That is what they said. So if we can get accountability partners or people who push us to do what we have set to do, I believe that will help us live life in the means that we love to, a good quality of life, achieving your goals, achieving the little things that you have set to do. Even the goals of saying, I'll do 5 steps in the morning, I'll wake up at 5 a.m. or I'll wake up at 6 a.m., I'll have to eat my supper at by 8 p.m. You see those small things that lead up to the big steps, big plans that you have put in life. Thank you so much, Rispa. And she also says, choose right. It's true, you can choose an accountability partner. And correct me if I'm wrong, Josephine and Victoria, you can also reiterate if what I'm saying is right. You have to choose a right accountability partner. Someone that will not coddle you, someone that will not say, oh, it is this, it is done, let's just leave it like this. Please share on that. How did you go about choosing your accountability partners? People who are keeping you right, people who are keeping you in check, and they're not sugarcoating, they're not coddling you. They know your potential is this, you have to do this. How do you go about doing that? Let's start with Victoria.
Okay. On the personal front, I would say there comes a time in life where you live your life consciously. You choose and are very intentional with everything that you do. So the people who you encounter vibrate on that frequency. And since they vibrate on that frequency, you have shared values, you have there are things you agree on that works for you and for them. I'm talking about my women. And then the reason why everyone should have a life coach on retainer is for her to come and tell you, over here, get over with it, like, forget this, you need to move on or pivot, make another decision. This one, it's going south. You're not going anywhere. So yeah, that's my answer. That's how you get it right. And I also say all the time, and when it comes to a point where you feel this is not working for me, there's nothing wrong with changing your mind. And I say that when I talk about friendship, like I mentioned earlier. This was your friend that you used to do everything with. But you realize as you have evolved as a human being, you're no longer on the same level in terms of how you reason. Maybe you used to go out to the club together, and now you've decided that's no longer my life. So how will you even this friendship continue? Because you are on two totally different planes. So it's also okay to change your mind and choose more. And I will quote my life coach: in a world with, is it 7 billion people? Why would you be worried about losing one friend? There are people who are there to be your friends, and I have made a lot of new friendships in the last 3 years of my life. Actually, it's unbelievable. There are very good, amazing people in the world who you vibrate on the same frequency that are good for you and for your growth, including relationships. I'm in a new relationship. I'm divorced now. I got divorced, but I'm in a new relationship. There are awesome, amazing men out here who you won't even believe, you know? So, yeah, make another decision if the one you made is not working.
Thank you so much, Victoria. And Josephine, I would like you to answer in regards to spirituality. You are God's favorite, God speaks to you. So, does that help you discern friendships and accountability people? Does that count while choosing for that?
Everything counts well. In the Christian life, whatever you're
Yes.
going to do, everything counts. But then sometimes, and like I said earlier, we let our feelings speak for us. And it's important also, before you go and open up yourself to people, just find out. Go back to God and ask God about this person and listen to what God is going to tell you. He might talk through somebody, he might talk through his word, he might speak to you very silently and very calmly and tell you. Because not everybody who is in your corner is for you.
Yes.
Not everybody who's in your corner is for you. So you need to also have that discernment that there's somebody in this corner. They might be dancing when you are dancing, but they're dancing with, for lack of a better word, with the darkness in their heart. They're not happy for you. So you have to be also very careful and know that, yes, I have all these people, but who exactly is for me in this particular place? Right?
Yes.
And now that you opened up that door, let me just go through it and say, if you go back to the Bible, you find that David's family line, his own nephew is the one who misled his son to do some of the worst things that he did. This is somebody who is in your family. You'd think that your family will have your back, but he didn't have his uncle's back. He's the one who set things in motion that really and truly shouldn't have been done. So it is not only, sometimes you have family that are not our bloodline. So just figure out in this accountability, hey Mungu, what are you saying about this person? And if you're open and if you're honest and if you're willing to listen to God, he's going to speak and he's going to tell you. And sometimes it tells you to do some of the most weird things, like telling Victoria to let go of those relationships that you have had for years. And you're wondering why. But it might be a Lot and Abraham story. The place where you're going is different from the place this other person is going. So also just know where you are when you're looking at these friendships, when you're looking at your accountability partners, because you just might need to pivot.
Thank you so much, Josephine. Mr. Dosso says discernment is a powerful tool in navigating fear, which is true. And discernment, as we're taught in school, are one of the gifts of the Holy Spirit. So we should all seek discernment. It will help us sometimes navigate life and conquer those fears, because with that we easily know that the way Josephine said, not everyone that is dancing with you is right for you, or not everyone that is in your corner is for you. And Victoria also said growth is not something that is happening at the same time. If you're friends, you will be growing at a different rate, and the friend will be growing at a different rate. So it is good to shed off and leave them behind, and you will still make new friends in this heavily populated world. And with that, I would like you all, you beautiful ladies, to leave us with one quote from the book that will speak to us and say, do it afraid. Kindly. Josephine, will you start?
Oh, I can't remember one quote from the book, but a quote that I have about telling us to do it afraid is simply, fear is a liar, but courage tells the truth. So even when you're fearful, think about how courage will speak. The truth is, you as a person are capable of everything that you're doing. You are ready and you can do it. All you need to do is say yes to yourself. Because in saying yes to yourself, you're allowing so many other people to say yes to themselves and to the opportunities that come.
Thank you so much, Josephine. Say yes to the opportunity. Victoria, do you have one for us?
This is from my chapter, so let me read it. Doing it afraid doesn't mean fear wins. It means fear becomes fuel, pushing you towards dreams bigger than your nightmares. Every step taken in terror led me here, to love, to purpose, to peace. Fear didn't win. I did. This is me doing it afraid.
Thank you so much, Victoria. I also have one, but it's a combination of both their quotes. Before I say it, I'd like to prepare the audience that if you have any questions, any concerns, or anything to say, like a motivation to us, the next session will be an interactive session between you and the authors. So please prepare if you have any questions or something to say. So I'll go ahead and say this. It is a very powerful quote, by the way. It says, fear will never completely disappear, but it doesn't get to decide how your story ends. Your voice matters, even if it trembles. Note, even if it trembles, your voice matters. Speak, show up as you are, because the world needs only what you can give. You are special. There is no one else like you. The world only needs what you can give. And I will add on to, your fear is not your prison. So do it afraid. Thank you, ladies. And I would like to say that that was really powerful. Thank you, ladies, for those inspiring words, for what you have taken us through, for the insights that you've given to us. So, like I said previously, if any of you in the audience have questions, you can raise your hand, and if you are not free to talk, you can just put a question in the chat box. I'll give you a minute to do that, and we can continue. As we wait for your questions, Agnes, if you can hear me, I would kindly like to invite you to give us any thoughts you have, because you're also part of the book, and we'll have you with us next week. So please just come and say a word or two, and we'll continue.
Thank you, Celine. Good evening, everyone.
Good
Good evening,
evening.
Agnes.
Hi.
Okay, so I will read from my portion just as a short and sweet quote. And it's talking about change, because part of what we experience fear when we are about to enter into new territory, when changes arise. So, but we are encouraged to embrace change because we grow through changes. So I'm just reading a quote that I borrowed from another author, and it says, "Let me say this again. All change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end." So just to encourage all that, yes, every change, you expect it to be hard, move forward. It will be a bit messy in the middle as you figure it out how to move. And in the end, it will be so gorgeous. Just listening to the two speakers' experiences, they have gorgeous stories at the end. For instance, Victoria's moving through those many borders with children, it was hard. And I could tell it was messy because he's having a hard time at the borders with the immigration people. And now it's gorgeous. She even has a relationship that is a sweet one. So we should embrace change. And I leave you with that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Agnes. Thank you. Thank you. So someone has a question. He's saying, what song or quote or verse, if you have a verse, motivates you when you feel nervous? So this question goes both to you, Victoria, and Josephine.
This one I learned from my life coach, and it freed me and gave me freedom, even when everything is going wrong. She says that nothing falls apart. How can I forget? IGC people remind me, nothing falls apart, everything works together. How can I forget? But it's my everyday, like, as life is, there's always an obstacle, a challenge. There's always something happening that is not according to your plan. And when you see it,
everything falls in place. Sorry.
everything falls
Nothing.
in place. Nothing falls apart, everything falls in place, yes. So once I internalized that right now, and I think that had partly come even before my mom passed away. Of course, I was sad. She's my mother. I lost her. But I knew there was so much else, so much more good coming with life because of her loss. We've actually written a book about death. It's called The Gift of Death. That one, it is done, but we have not submitted to a publisher because there's so many good things that came from the death. I've written it with my friend and my life coach. There are so many good things that came from the death of our mothers. And death is seen as taboo in our African society, so much so that people want to mourn for 15, 20 years and put it as a medal. I mean, there's another side, good side to death. So once I internalize that bad things, yes, will happen, there's also always something good that happens after the bad thing. So I'm okay with the messy middles, like Agnes is saying, because a gorgeous ending is coming.
Thank you so much for the quote. He said, "Nothing falls apart; everything falls in place." Yes. Josephine.
I have both a verse and a saying.
Yes.
And let me start with the verse. In the book of Exodus, when the Israelites are leaving Egypt and they're on their way to the Red Sea, and they turn to Moses and they look and they are like, "Did you bring us out here to die?" Because what are they seeing? They're seeing the Red Sea in front of them and they're seeing the Egyptians behind them and they're wondering. But God tells them, and this is the verse, "I, the Lord, you will fight for you. You need only to be still." And sometimes fear causes us to make decisions that we do not need to make, to act out in our emotions. And we might just need at that point that we are fearing something to move, but move in stillness, not move in anxiety, move in stillness. And that also brings, I think it's Romans 8. There's a verse in Romans 8 that says that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them that are called according to his promise. And the quote for me now becomes, "Nothing happens to me, but everything happens for me." So whatever happens, it's happening for me to be able to walk in the purpose that God has called me to. It's not happening to me, so I'm not experiencing it as me, but I am going through it because God has allowed it, because it's happening for me.
Thank you so much, Justin. That is really powerful. I believe previous days back, we were having a conversation, and one lady said to us that if you get to know your purpose in life, get to know what you're born on this earth to do, you would live a fulfilling life. You won't live through life like the wind just flowing. So, with that, we should also find our purpose in life, and I think we'll all live a fulfilling life. I would like to kindly welcome our publishing director, Mr. Doso, the driving force behind these powerful stories. Um, he has something to say. Mr. Doso, are you ready?
Oh, yes, I am ready. Thank you so very much, Celine. I hope you can be able to see me and hear me clearly.
Yes.
Well, allow me to first of all begin by thanking God for giving us the opportunity to gather in this place. In the morning, I knew this was going to be a wonderful day. In the evening, I am confirming it and experiencing it. The session has been very powerful. I like the insights that have been shared in here. I like the honesty in the voices of the speakers and the practicality of the examples they're giving. When it comes from a lived experience, it lands differently, and that is very powerful. And the fact that it's being told by one of us, somebody we know who, they look like us, their skin color is like ours, we know where they come from. It makes it very easy to connect with the story and to even learn from the lessons, which is a very powerful thing. The subject of fear is as old as humanity. And I think fear is part of the story of living a meaningful and impactful life. Somebody once said that when you feel fear, know that you are being invited to something bigger than you have experienced. And it is your body telling you that it doesn't know how to deal with that. So you shouldn't feel like it's a trigger for you to give up or to abandon. You should interpret that as an invitation to a greater platform or an invitation to greatness. The reason why we brought together all these voices in the anthology that has been done here by the 10 women that we are experiencing through the book and through the conversations we're going to have here in the next couple of weeks, and part of which we've been served with today, is because we know that there is medicine from the lives of those who have already conquered. just looking at them, hearing them, learning from them provides medicine to those who are coming from behind or those who are aspiring to make their lives better. And for me, there is no better medicine than looking at somebody who has been cured and is looking healthy from the same troubles that you're going through. That inspires hope. It tells you that it's possible for me as well. While we are doing this, we want to position the story of the African woman leader in the right place. If you have been an African or have lived in Africa, you probably know the history of the African woman and where her story comes from. Long time ago, women were there to just be seen, not heard, not felt, or anything. But now we have to rewrite that script because we have come to realize that there is a powerful resource we've been losing for very many years by not paying attention and tapping from the resourcefulness that they carry. Yet from just looking around, you will see the value of mothers. When they become mothers, they taste different and they are talked about differently. Anybody who has gone through the hands of a mother know the value of the investment that comes into our lives from them. Now that is the same thing that you have when she's still when she's a leader in your place of work, when she's a leader in the community, when she's your sister, when she's your wife, or anything. It is the same potential. It is the same resource. Only that we call it differently because it has appeared to us as a mother. So if we can appreciate the value of mothers and the mothering effect on us, we surely can appreciate the value of the women we work with, the women that we are raised with, together with, and the women that surround our lives, because it is the same resource. So putting these voices together would now for the first time give us an opportunity to hear it from lived experiences of people who are still here with us. And what I like about this is that they are still around. You can call them, you can chat them up, you can do coffee with them, you can ask them questions, you can interrogate whatever they're sharing, you can even be friends with them, you can do business with them. That's a very beautiful thing. And we are doing this to be able to demonstrate the value of being able to approach life and do things afraid, because like Celine said, fear will never be completely banished. It is part of the formula. It is part of this thing that keeps you alert, or reminds you that now you're going to be ascending to higher heights or taking up a role that is bigger than what you've experienced before. And therefore those of us who have learned how to use fear as a tool, as an instrument for progress, rather than as something that comes to kill us or to freeze us or to destroy our lives, we know how beautiful life can be. And sometimes the difference between those who are ahead and those who are not is actually just embracing fear and doing it afraid. Most of the people who have made something meaningful out of their lives have actually done it afraid, and they keep doing it afraid. They have not figured everything out. They do not know how the end will look like. They do not have answers to all the challenges they are facing. They do not have solutions to anything that is likely to arise in the course of time. All they have is this confidence in what they have and their willingness to do what is possible to be done at the point where they are, at the level where they are, and they are very open to learning and growing. And for many people who have shared their stories of success, it looks like that. It looks like willingness to deploy yourself, start where you are with what you have, do it afraid, and keep learning, keep growing, and explore and become big, and deliver value in your life and in the life of those people who are around you. So together with all this, I want to thank all of you who have spared time to come, because you have responded positively to the signal. You came, you trusted that there's something good that was going to be discussed here today, and you have been here all through. We really want to appreciate you for that. And as I close, we are getting ready to the official release of the book, Do It Afraid. On the 30th of August this month, we are going to be releasing that book, and we are going to have a huge celebration here in Nairobi at Trademark Suits in Nairobi. So if you are in Nairobi or even outside Nairobi, I would want to invite you to consider coming and being part of this experience. We're going to be starting the program at 2 p.m. and we'll run it up to evening around 6:30 or 6:45 there. And we are planning to have a very enriching experience, an opportunity to network and to connect and to meet with all these authors. There are 10 of them. You've just listened to 2. And of course, there's one that has just thrown in her voice here, but I know we are going to be listening to her either next week or the week after. But that day, we're going to have the 10 of them. So it's going to be a charged afternoon, an afternoon of color, happiness, good networking, and of course, beautiful coffee and enjoying ourselves. So if you are available and can spare time on that day, I want to invite you to come and be together with us. Otherwise, thank you so very much. And thanks, Celine, for doing an excellent job. You are making me very, very, very proud. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dosso. There you have it, everyone. Thank you so much for engaging openly with us, commenting, saying what you have learned. And it is very clear that this topic of fear, how it shapes our lives, careers, and decisions is something that all of us can relate to. You see, and like I said in the beginning, Do It Afraid is not just a book. It is not about the experiences of our authors or our lives. We're making it a movement. We have to do it afraid. And like Mr. Dosso said, if you would like to join us for the launch, it is happening on the 30th of August 2025 at Trademark Enaki. Links have been sent in the chat box if you want to register. But if you want to interact with the book before the launch day, there is also a second link for ordering the book. Let's not just talk about doing it afraid. Let's live it. Let's do it in action. Faith without action is dead, as we say, India. I cannot wait to see you at the launch, book in hand, ready to step into the next chapter of courage. You can also follow our journey on LinkedIn, where all of official updates and communications about the book will be posted. The name is Zion Pearl Publishers. There's only one of that. And as we come to a close, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to you all, to our incredible authors, for sharing your wisdom and courage with us. You have challenged us to see fear differently and to keep moving forward despite the fear, because fear will never really go. It will always linger, trying to push you back, trying to pull you back. So let us continue to keep moving forward despite the fear. And to everyone who joined us here on Zoom and on YouTube, thank you for your time, your attention, and engagement. It really made this webinar worth it. Your presence means so much, and it is proof that the message, Do It Afraid, matters. And lastly, to the Zion Pearl team, thank you for making all this possible. To the webinars, to the books, and to the authors and to the ladies. Thank you all, and remember, do it afraid. Do not do it without feeling not fearful, because if you don't do it afraid, someone else will do it. So do it afraid. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely evening.
Thanks, Celine and team.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Celine. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.